Hi guys, it's album review time. And sometimes I do albums together. I do like a collection of stuff I've been listening to in the recent week or something like that. But sometimes I have to save one show for one album. And a massive band like this is going to get it. It's Journey and their new album Freedom. I heard this today. It got sent to me a couple of days ago and I just got round to listening to it today. I'm really excited about listening to it. I've actually loved all the singles so far. I think they vary for me in quality. You know, I think the last one was the best one. We'll get round to the tracks again in a minute. But I love this album. There's loads of variety on here. There's 15 tracks. So the 15th album, actually, the 15th studio album and 15 tracks. So it's quite cool. It's due out on, it's getting released on July the 8th on Frontiers and BMG. So just sharing this release. It's 2011, the last time they released an album. That was Eclipse. So it's the longest period between albums they've had, apparently. So that I didn't think it would be, but it obviously, you know, it's a long fucking time. Freedom, which this album is called, was the actual, I just found this out, the Raised on Radio, their 80s album was originally called Freedom, and then Steve Perry changed it. So that's interesting. So they've called this one Freedom. So that's quite cool as well. And you know what? I think it's not, you know, there's parts of the 80s Journey across this album. There's part of later Journey across this album, and they definitely go back to their early stages as well. Touches upon lots of stuff in their career, I would say. Almost uncompromising. Almost like we're going to do what we want to do at this stage of our career. There's a lot of bands doing that, you know. I think Maiden, you know, people sometimes with Iron Maiden, sorry to talk about another band, but with Maiden, people want them to return to 1982, you know, or whatever it is, 1983. But they just do what they want to do. And I think that's what Journey are doing now. You know, the fans call out for sort of different stuff. I was really happy about the last couple of albums, by the way. I thought that's fantastic. I love Revelation and I loved Eclipse. Both for different reasons. You know, Eclipse was a heavier album. Revelation was almost harking back to their 80s sound, for sure. But this almost does a little bit of everything. But it's almost them going, you know what, we are going to do what we love, but we're going to do it for us. That's how it feels, this album, to me. And I love it for it as well. So in the band at the moment, or in the band on the recording of this album, is, of course, Arnel Pineda. I mean, I can't say enough about this guy. I'm definitely not one stuck in the Steve Perry years. I love Steve Perry's voice, by the way. I can't say enough about Steve Perry's voice. Without a doubt, you know, you're talking about the best vocalist of the 80s. Steve Perry has got to be there. He really has. I just love his voice. Unmistakable. Absolutely fantastic voice. But I'm really glad Arnel's in the band. I've said this before. I think he's a great singer. I think he fronts this band really well. I think he deserves his place, without a doubt. A brilliant singer in himself. So then you've got Dean Castranova's actually he only done one vocal on this, on track 8, which is quite cool. I'll get round to the tracks in a minute. But yeah, he isn't actually playing drums on this album, but I think he's playing with the band now. So drums on this album was a guy called narrator Michael Walden. Does a brilliant job across this album. There's lots of different styles across this album. It doesn't venture too far. I mean, they're not playing dance music or anything, but it's all sort of rock or AOR, sometimes a bit bluesy and stuff, like Journey have been through their career. And the drummer does an absolutely brilliant job. Neil Schon is just outstanding on this. I really like his guitar. I love his guitar playing. There's some brilliant solos on this album that sort of, they almost, like I said, they hark back a little bit, as in Scorpions did this year with their album, almost giving you little hints of actual past songs, but just little glimpses to sort of almost, you know, pop it in your head and think, oh yeah, that reminds me of that, you know. And a lot of the Neil Schon solos across this are just brilliant. Some of his soaring solos, especially playing songs out like he loves to do, just sounds fantastic on this album. Jonathan Cain on the keys. Just there's a lot of keys on this album, as there is on any Journey album, so it's not going to be a surprise for you. You know, a lot of piano and stuff like that. He just sounds fantastic. Journey wouldn't be the same with Jonathan Cain and his keys. They really wouldn't. He's a massive part of this band. I think they're, you know, keyboards for me, and I've always said this, they're not my favourite instrument, without a doubt. But if I want a heavy band, I don't want keys there as much, or I want them right in the background. When it comes to Journey, I want them at the forefront. They're one of the most important elements of the sound of this band. You've got a guy called Jason Dorata doing some backing vocals on this as well. He's named at the bottom. And Randy Jackson on the bass. So he's back after being on Raised on Radio. So he's back. It's the original name of Raised on Radio. It's all pretty cool, isn't it? And nostalgic. I actually really like it. So I did say it's almost uncompromising, this album, and it really is. 15 tracks. It did fly by because of the variety, I suppose, you know, but it gave me a bit of everything I wanted. It really did. And there's some fantastic tracks on this. And if you're wondering if the singles are the best ones, there's some brilliant tracks that maybe pale in comparison to the singles. And I love the singles, but there's some are just a lot better than the singles. So there's some brilliant quality across this album. It's been a bit made up of the production on this album. I don't mind it at all. And I think I said in probably the second single that came out, because I didn't really notice it on the first one. But for me, I really think they're going for a live feel. It feels like the guys are in the studio. And there's a few tracks that really do feel that way on this album. But I think in general, it's got a real live feel. Sometimes I can imagine when I listen to some of these songs, I'm sitting on the grass at the back of a open air festival listening to Journey. That's what it sounds like to me. Unless I'm going mad. But people have said about the production, they've poked holes in it. And sometimes, you know, Journey's production is really crystal clear. So this isn't like that. Like I said, it's almost like a live feel, but it gives energy to the album. Let's get on to the tracks. Not going to go into great detail about the tracks, but just tell you my favourite ones, and there's quite a lot of them. So the album kicks off with a great track called Together We Run. Piano start, stadium rock. Straight away, this is what it's all about. Surprising first track, I would say, sort of understated, isn't really heavy. I know Journey are not heavy anyway, but sometimes they come out of the gate with a more heavier song, guitar-based song. But it's almost with that piano going along with the guitar. There's a brilliant hook in this song. And it's even, I think it's just the word run. I think he's saying run, Arnell. And it's just, the way he sings it, it's just the main hook of the song. And Sean just has a brilliant, unmistakable solo in this one. Don't Give Up On Us is the last single. For me, the best single so far. This is the one that has the sort of shades of Separate Ways at the beginning. Classic Journey. I've already spoke about that song a lot, so I'll move on to the next one. You Got the Best of Me, another single. A great taste of what Journey are now for me. Sort of a real mature band now. Obviously, they're getting older. But like I said, almost we are this band. We know we are. This is what we want to be. We're doing it for ourselves almost. A sound that gives a sort of taste of their past and present perfectly. Live to Love Again. This is the second ballad of the album. So there's already been another one, but I didn't speak about this one. This one is outstanding. It really is. An amazing performance by Pineda on this. Soulful, mature vocal performance. He really is a vocalist of his own now. You know, a lot of people said he's a Steve Perry copycat. You can forget about that now. He's got his own style without a doubt. Piano and guitar chords just weaving perfectly along with this great understated ballad. Classic Sean solo again. The Way We Used to Be. This was a single. Obviously, this is the first one. This is the one that came out ages ago. We were thinking, all right, we've got a Journey album coming. I think, was it nearly enough a year ago? It was a long time ago. Anyway, excellent song that has a great groove. Sean picking at his guitar throughout. Brilliant single. Come Away With Me. This is a sort of heavier track. Production, again, for me, on certain tracks, have that real live feel. It's enhanced even more, especially on this one. Really works well here. Almost feels like the band are sort of, you know, you're right there with them. It's an amazing sort of way they've produced this. Very different, but I can see what they're going for. A funky sort of heavy track this is, rock track. Afterglow I want to speak about. I love this one. Dean Castronova doing vocals on here. Another great ballad that sort of brings some Frontiers era feels for me. Almost Send Her My Love feels, sort of synths high in the mix. Amazing backing vocals with this one. Obviously I don't know if it's Arnell doing the backing vocals, but they are pretty amazing. And Castronova does an excellent performance also on the vocals. Just outstanding performance. I love his voice as well. Sean is absolutely amazing again on this track. Let It Rain, this was a single. This is the bluesy one, probably my least favourite out of the singles I would say at this stage, listening to all four. But quite cool still, sort of 70s style Journey, bluesy. Again, the live feels are really present here for me. All Day and All Night, this is a sort of dancey beat, if you like. I did say it wasn't a dance album, didn't I? But it's a rock dancey sort of beat coming on this one. With Sean almost jamming guitar over it. A really catchy chorus on this. This song sort of, I can really hear the band enjoying themselves. It almost sounds like they're really enjoying themselves on this one, doing what they want. I said they're sort of uncompromising at the moment. You know, we're getting older. We basically want to make the album we want to make. That's how I feel sometimes listening to some of these songs. Don't Go. Now this is 80s, classic 80s Journey right here. A great AOR track that is just absolutely superb. There's sort of parts of it that are beefed up a little bit with some chuggy guitars. So melodic, so catchy, brilliant chorus. One of my faves on the album. Talking about some of my favourites on the album, we have another one. United We Stand. Piano and guitar go hand in hand really on this one. This feels like it could have been on Eclipse, the last album. It's 11 years ago, but you know what I mean. Another brilliant song where sort of Pineda sort of really soars in an absolutely amazing chorus. Life Rolls On is the 14th track. Classy song, this one. The song builds for the first, say, 1.5 minutes, and then the band all joins in at that stage. It again sounds like the band are really doing what they like, and all the better for it for me. I think it's almost got an energy about them where they, you know, we're doing what we want and we're going to enjoy ourselves. I think this track could be one that anyone listening to it, no matter what sort of music they like, they could sort of relate to it, the sound of it. I don't mean lyrically, I just mean it's just got a big sound. Like, you know, it's very relatable for sure. And again, I know I've been saying it a lot, but an excellent soaring solo by Sean. And then we finished the album off, 15th track, Beautiful As You Are. I love this song. Brilliant start. You've got acoustic guitar and Pineda's brilliant voice at the beginning. He sounds absolutely amazing. And then it goes from this sort of ballad feel into an almost a medium pace track. So it comes out of the ballad territory into something else. Just epic stuff really. Journey at their best on this. Beautiful As You Are is an absolutely fantastic way to end the album, especially as there's some twists and turns in that song. So guys, I love this album. I know that a lot of people have been sort of hesitant, I suppose, with the singles. There's been sort of a mix about how people feel. I'm really happy with this album. I think the guys have done a brilliant job. 15 songs, some would say that's a bit long. I don't know. Are you going to get another Journey album? This has taken 11 years to get round to releasing, so I want 15 tracks. I want 15 tracks of Journey. For me, you know, I spoke about my favourite tracks. I think I only missed out a couple of tracks, and I actually like them ones as well. I just didn't want to ramble on and on, which I have done already. But Journey are my favourite AOR band, basically. I absolutely worship them. They're fantastic. If anyone mentions, you know, who's your favourite AOR band, Journey are just straight at the forefront for sure. Always loved them since I was a kid. I absolutely love them now, and I'm so happy they're bringing decent music out still. So fantastic, guys. Know what you think of the singles so far. Are you going to get this album, Freedom? Highly recommended from me. I absolutely love it. I might be a bit biased though because I fucking love them. Let me know in the comments below, guys, and I'll see you soon.